My name's Nate Beard.
Hi, my name is Steve.
So my name is Sarah Zufa, and I have been a Christian since 2001.
I think coming right out of the womb, I was a Christian, if not shortly after. I grew up in a Christian home. My parents were involved in ministry. My dad's a pastor.
Trying to believe or know that Jesus was who he said he was, that he died, was resurrected. I don't know if I believe that.
Life before Christianity was very confusing, actually. Grew up in a household where my father was a Muslim and my mother was a Greek Orthodox.
I remember wanting to go to church. When I was little, we went, there was like an ice cream social at church. And so you went, you had some ice cream, and then we would go back. And I remember learning about Jesus, the felt boards, that kind of stuff.
Growing up, though, I sort of relied on my parents' faith. I sort of just believed whatever they believed, and going to church wasn't automatic for me because I was a pastor's kid. So obviously I was there every week, a lot of times against my own will, and in clothes that I didn't want to wear.
And I had a lot of questions, and I was called retarded. I was, told to be quiet and that kind of stuff. So I didn't feel welcome there. I got to where I didn't want to go to church.
My mom's sister is actually my godmother. She's my favorite aunt, and she's an atheist. And growing up, Jesus Christ was a swear word coming out of her mouth. And that's really the only time I heard his name. But for some reason, at night when I was scared when my dad would leave and my mom was home with us, she was very abusive, I found myself just talking to Jesus Christ.
It was probably 3 or 4 when I wandered in and into their bedroom, and they said, well, what do you need? And I said, well, I learned about heaven today in Sunday school, and I'm not sure that I'm going to go to heaven, and I want to go to heaven. And so they said, well, come on over, and I hopped up on the bed and I, prayed with them and accepted Christ.
At age 29, I lost a child she was stillborn, and I had a roommate actually, who was a Christian, and she just started taking me along to her Bible studies, and she had given me my first Bible, and she had highlighted a bunch of verses about people that were going through sorrowful times.
So I met my wife Jennifer at college, and when we would go home to see her parents and her family and visit, every Sunday they would go to church.
And then 6 months after the death of my daughter, I met Tom.
I remember in high school I led a Bible study for part of the year, and the other part of the year I was, a lot of kids knew that I was doing things that I wasn't supposed to be doing.
When we decided we were getting married, I moved to Minnesota to be closer to him, obviously, and I started going to his church.
I was only going to church to be supportive of Jennifer. I know that she's a Christian. I wanted to be there to support her. When we were thinking about starting a family, I knew that I would want to raise our children in a Christian home with those beliefs, kind of hoping it would go better for them than it did for me.
I remember telling God that I would honor him with my life and do the best that I could do to honor him with my deeds, my actions, and my relationships. And that wasn't ever a promise that I had made to him before. It was always just a given that I was a Christian. And so I never actually was intentional about living out what I said I believed.
I don't know if I'm going to get to the point where I know factually Jesus was who he was and he rose from the dead. I know that to get there is going to take some faith on my part. I mean, that's what faith is. I don't know if that's in me, but I'm willing to learn. I'm willing to discover. I am more open now than I have been in the past.
The pastor was talking about baptism, and if I really believed, I should be baptized. And I thought, okay, so do I really believe in this Jesus, And after everything I'd been through, after his sermon, do you believe? The light went on. Yes, I believe in this guy, this Jesus Christ, that's all about love. And that's when I decided.